So we're out in the garden today. When you guys see this, it'll be May, but it's the end of April here. And I'm going to do a bit of a different garden update today. So I'm going to talk about all the stuff that's happening, but I want to put it into context. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move so you can have a look, okay? And the reason I'm doing this is I want you to see gardens aren't all just one area where one thing works. You've got shady spots, sunny spots, different types of soil, all that kind of thing. So we're going to look at that today, and we're going to talk about the sunny spots and the shady spots, what's doing well, why things are where they are, and what's happening. So let's go for a wander. So, welcome to the Costa del East Lothian. It's a beautiful, warm, gorgeous day. It's been lovely this week. And it gives me a chance, for me and the cat, to enjoy the sun, but it gives me a chance to talk about the garden and about the fact that it's not just simply a garden and it's all the same. So you get sunny spots, you get shady spots. The sun and the shade changes places during the day, and that affects your plants and where you put them and how they do. So right now we're in what we refer to as the beer garden, because this is generally where we sit at the end of the day with a beer. It's nice when it's sunny, because where we're situated, we're south-east of Edinburgh in East Lothian, and the sun rises over there and it travels in that direction. So at the end of the evening, it's over there and it shines down at the bottom of this garden. Okay, we're unfortunate that we've got an awesome big massive patio that never gets any sunshine because the house blocks it and it's always in shadow. So that means this bit of the garden gets sun almost all the time. It gets baked. So we've got some awesome stuff here that likes the sun. So this, it's an awesome spectacle of the colour and the changes, the textures, the heights, everything. Because we see this from the house. If I'm doing the dishes at the kitchen window, it looks straight onto this fence. It's also, as you can hear, we've got a park in the background here and a cycle path and stuff. And there's always dog walkers and runners and joggers and kids and things. So this is also our shield. It kind of does a wee bit of soundproof and that kind of thing. So what we've got here then, I was talking about the sun and things that like the sun. So we've got our trees, okay, so we've got our cherry tree and we've got our acer here. Okay, different heights, different textures. You saw this was an absolute full bloom a couple of weeks ago. It was beautiful. And now we've got the leaves on it. Okay, we've got the clematis, this guy here. This is, I was going to say evergreen. I don't know if it's necessarily called an evergreen, but this one you don't trim back. Okay, so this one will keep growing throughout the year. It'll keep the branches and things in winter, and we'll get these gorgeous blooms that you can see here. We get these kind of mid-April, well, nearer the end of April here, and they're just looking stunning just now. And we chose this white because it goes absolutely fantastic against the dark kind of burnt orangey colour of the fence. I think it's called autumn red officially. So that's awesome. And the thing with the clematis is it loves, here where it's got all its leaves and its flowers, it wants loads of sun, so it's perfect for here. But underneath here where its roots are, it likes its roots to be cool and shaded. So they're perfect because they're shaded by all the grasses, the trees, all that kind of stuff. Okay, we've also got here our pots, and I've got our ivy and our dianthus and stuff, which are starting to look awesome. And there's still some little cyclamen going there. Okay, these generally are winter flowers, so these won't last much longer. But in winter, when there's no blooms on the clematis and the alpines, then that's nice. It gives us a wee bit of colour there. And again, the ivy helps with this whole creating a backdrop for us. Okay, so the alpines, let's talk about that next. So you'll see we've got these wee pots, okay? Now, if you guys follow us in the blog, you might recognise these wee pots, because these guys started off life away at that side of the garden in the shady spot, and we tried growing our herbs in these, and I will admit 100% the decision to do that was about aesthetics. We thought it would be pretty, It was a disaster. They're too small. The herbs hated it. You can see how they sit, so the water was running off and the herbs weren't getting enough water, which was a fantastic idea of Kate's. She thought, well, in that case, alpines. And we've got all different alpines in here, look, and they're all starting to flower just now. All their saxifrage and things. Okay, and they love these pots because alpines don't like too much water. They're used to kind of rocky, not much soil, dry kind of environments. So they're loving this. And again, it gives us these little blasts of colour. The pots used to be little blasts of colour, but they've faded just with sunlight and stuff. So look at that. So that's the beer garden, the sunny end of the garden. I make it sound like Longmeadow where he's got his... I told you about the kids' play park. So I'm making this sound like it's Longmeadow and we've got all these different gardens. These are just spots in one garden, just our garden, because everybody has this. You've got all these different spots. So this is the sunniest bit of this garden. So let me take you to the shadiest bit now. This little spot is what we refer to as the situtery. It's a Scottish expression. It's basically the bit of the garden that you've set up specifically for you to sit out in and enjoy your garden. So as you can see, it's in the shade from the fence, so it gets a bit of sun. This bit, if you sit over on that side, gets a bit of sun up until just after lunchtime. So this is the sun just kind of fading off of it just now. So it does mean all the plants around here have to be plants that are quite happy in the shade, because this bit doesn't get much sun at all, like a tiny bit later on. Tiny bit. And basically this bit doesn't get any at all. So what have we got in here then that copes well with the sun? How's it all doing? Oh, it's a good spot, this. This is where we'll sit in the evening with a bit of pizza, that kind of thing. And just chill, music on, you know. Every garden needs a situtery. So if you've got quite a shady garden and you're struggling and wonder what kind of things to grow, grasses are always awesome. And then things like this. Primula, primrose, that type of thing. Little woodland plants. They're in all the shady spots in our garden and they do fantastic. And they're flowering most of the time. They give us most of the colour in our garden, even when everything else is kind of dying back. See? And you get all sorts of awesome colours. That's not real, don't worry. So when you're planting on this side, you need to be thinking of that. You need to be thinking about plants that cope okay with the shade. They don't need a lot of direct sunlight. So you can see here, these are my Aubrietia. I love these guys. When they're out, they're absolutely awesome. They create this amazing carpet of colour, but they completely die back over the winter. So they'll go, there won't be leaves, there won't be any sign of them. You will think they've died away, but actually they'll come back again in spring. They're amazing little things. We also have these, and these guys, not just in the sunny spot, we've got these all over the garden, but these are one of my favourite flowers. These are Aquilegia. When I first started gardening, I didn't know the names of all the different plants. I used to just call them dragons because the flowers look like little dragon heads when they come out. They kind of droop over and they're just awesome. But we've got lots of different colours of these, and I absolutely love these guys. Again, they completely die back over winter, gone completely. So you don't have to worry about the snow and all that kind of thing in a cold shady spot like this, but they will come back fantastic in spring. And then later on in the year we'll get loads of lovely flowers. So you can see that we're starting to get the buds for the flowers coming up now. So you can see here it's a bit of a weird bit. This bit I suppose is what we would call the walled garden, if we were being silly about this thing. Big fence, so up to about here is shade, okay? Here we'll start getting the sun as it's going that way, back here, but this little corner doesn't get it at all. But this bed does okay. We've got Schemia. I love these, Schemia japonica. They smell absolutely stunning. From the last like 3 or 4 weeks, and for the next couple of weeks they smell amazing, and then we'll get the gorgeous red berries on them. Big fan of these guys. So down here, cause you'll see more of the whole primula and primrose type stuff. That's from the daffodils, because again, with bulbs, you take the flowers off but you don't cut the leaves back. This guy, this is interesting, camellia. It's doing okay here, you know, it's green, it's lush, but it never flowers. We've got two out front which are baked by the sun, and those guys flower. So if you want flowers, it's not great for a shady spot, it needs good sun, but it'll survive and it'll be green and it'll give you greenery. Things to think about. So we'll do the next bit. Talking about shade and sunlight, the herb bed. This spends the morning in the shade, and mid-afternoon, as you can see, the sun's going this way and it starts to get some light. Which it means things we've got oregano, rosemary, you know, these types of things like lots of sun, they're Mediterranean. We've got our parsley, which likes a bit of shade, not too much sun, does like sun but not baked. And our thyme, chives, you can't see it, it's tiny. I've got some marjoram here. Last year's videos in the greenhouse, I tried growing the herbs in there and the marjoram just mugged everything else. So tiny little cutting from that plant out here this year, we'll see how that does. But yeah, so that's a herb bed. Veg beds next. And of course, the vegetable garden. The wee dog you can hear barking's not mine, that's Pebbles next door's kid's dog. So, beds. At the minute in here we've got beetroot, so you can see this is the stuff that I brought on in the greenhouse in the root trainers. If I had planted this out here, it wouldn't even be close to being this size yet. So I'm quite pleased, we'll just have to wait. Beetroot's a slow crop. So for those of you growing veggies and stuff for the first time, you need to be patient. Quite a lot of this stuff takes a long time. Beetroot's kind of an autumn crop. Yeah. Over there, I'm not growing canes, no. Those, I'm trying out some beans, so I've got some fandango beans. Nothing has come up yet though, so they're just canes. And I'm looking at something, there's a hole in there that I didn't make. And there's a net on this bed. So I'm not sure where that hole came from. I may have to have a word with Kate about this. Next. So, last bed, strawberry bed. This is the latest bed, the one we built this year, so these plants were in a bed. We had to take them all out, completely like dismantle the bed, empty all the soil, built this one, put all the soil back in, put the strawberries in, but they're doing awesome, they're all upright, they're looking good. We should be getting some flowers on these soon. When that happens, I'll put straw down so that when we get fruit, they're not sitting on the soil, because if that soil gets wet and the fruit's sitting on it, it could rot. So I'll put the straw down and that will stop that happening. Also over here, got my black currants and my red currants, 2 bushes here, starting to look awesome. We are getting little flowers coming up, so that's cool. It's always a fight with the birds. I'm always the last one to get to the fruit on these. Yeah. So I told you how awesome the black currants and red currants were looking. This is the blueberry. You guys asked me for an update on the blueberries. Not been as good. First year I was quite happy, I got a couple of big handfuls. Last year it was really abysmal. It wasn't just that the birds were getting to them eating them, which was happening, but the plants were just really bare. Racked my veins, but I think I know what happened. I think it was down to me pruning. Come on, sweetheart. This wee one's quite shy. I think it was down to my pruning. I think I was pruning off the wrong branches, so I was pruning off the stuff that was going to fruit and leaving the old stuff. So it's probably going to take a couple of years to recover, so this might be a long sort of update. We might have to keep coming back to this. Disappointing. But that's gardening. So yes, so we've got some wee marigolds just coming out. These little guys are the ones from the greenhouse that you've been watching me grow on. So these just got planted out from the greenhouse this week. We've got some have got flowers coming up. These ones don't yet. It's got buds, but there's nothing quite on that one. but not long. So generally I like these because they give these little blasts of colour. They're amazing. So I just have them in little spots like this where I've got bare patches. And this year I'm going to put some in the greenhouse as well to see how good they'll be for the whole getting rid of the whitefly. But this as well, we've got our one of our Japanese acers here. This one's got the beautiful snake bark, so it's got green leaves, whereas all our others have got the beautiful flame red leaves. It doesn't do so well because this is a bit of a wind tunnel here, and it gets basically clipped. The wind just takes the tops off everything, so it can sometimes be a wee bit wind burnt. But around here we've just got all these anemones and what have you in here, just looking beautiful just around the base. Just gorgeous, look at this. I love these little pom-poms. But yeah, I've just seen this. This guy's been forgotten about because he's behind here, to be honest. So he's full of weeds. Maybe should do something with this. Yeah, so everything that's in here has self-seeded. I haven't planted any of this. But it looks like there's some anemones coming up in here. Maybe keep an eye. This started off way back. Like way back 8 years ago. We bought a tiny little lavender. And I put it in this teapot on the stair over there because it was all tiny and it was really cute. Let me go and show you that lavender now. It didn't last long in the teapot. If you don't know, lavender get quite big quite fast. 8 years later, it is now massive and we have to totally cut it back seriously because it blocks the door. But you can see, it's because it's so old now and it's all gone so woody. We're probably going to replace this, so I've got some little ones growing on that will replace this. But it's amazing, we've got it at the back door because the smell that comes off it is stunning. So you get that when you open the door and it just comes in, it's brilliant. Okay, next. So we spoke about sunny traps. The front of the house is an absolute sun trap. It's baked by the sun all day, every day, if the sun's out. So perfect spot for a rockery and lots of alpines. So we spoke about the saxifrages that we have on the fence at the back. Lots more of them here, lots of different types. We've got dianthus, we've got heather, just all this absolutely gorgeous, amazing stuff. So yeah, so if you've got a really sunny trap, rockery's a good thing. Tell you what, will I show you the tree? The shrubbery with Kate's awesome acer. And there's some more little azaleas, little dwarf azaleas. These guys come up awesome because they're baked in the sun because this is the front of the house. And these guys just flower like mad. They love lots of sun. Not so good. We've got some in the shade that don't do so well at all. I'm interrupting the video because we have to do the winner of last week's competition. So one of you guys is randomly going to get picked to win a quadgrow system. So here goes. Let's put details in here and let's see who's going to win. Oh, here we go. And the winner is Thomas Tobias. Well done, Thomas. If you get in touch with me, we'll get all your details and we'll get you put in touch with Greenhouse Sensation, who will sort you out with the quadgrow. Well done. And if you didn't win, don't worry, because I've got another awesome thing for you. Because the guys at Greenhouse Sensation are so awesome that they said they didn't want anyone to feel like, you know, they didn't win, didn't get anything. It's a bit sad. Because this is such an awesome thing and we're all celebrating together for the 1,000 subscribers, they've actually said for the next week, so from now until next Saturday night, anyone who wants to can go onto their website and use an awesome 10% discount code on anything you buy. So I'll put the code here. It is Kitchen Garden 10, and if you put that code in, they will know you've come from this YouTube channel and you'll get a 10% discount on anything you buy. How awesome is that? Good, guys. Awesome. Right, so Thomas Tobias, get in touch with your details. Use the account you used to leave me the comment on YouTube and we'll get you sorted. But for the rest of you guys, we'll let you get on with the rest of the video. Bye! And of course, the very last place to bring you is the greenhouse, which at the minute is very much a working greenhouse. In other words, it's a bit of a mess because there's just so much going on just now. So in here, since you were last in, what's different? I don't know. Oh, this. So, tomatoes have been potted on. So I'll come up here so you can see tomatoes, okay? They've been potted on, so they're not quite ready to go into the quad grows yet. It'll be another maybe 2 weeks, but they're starting to look really good and healthy. If we flick back to a few weeks ago when I was panicking about the size of these. So yeah, so here we go. So there's tomato Roma, and I've got all my other ones going as well. So you can see they're all here. I've got some salad growing. French tarragon. I love this stuff. I put this in everything. But I find this is really hard to get seeds for. I always end up having to buy plug plants because it's hard to get seeds. But I love this stuff. Again, crocosmia. If we go back to the video that I've posted up of me collecting the seeds from the garden, these are from the crocosmia lucifer seeds that I collected. So they are just starting to come up nicely. This side of the greenhouse. This is mostly sunflowers and some petunias. That's the violas. Again, the seeds that I gathered in the garden. These are the little flowers coming up from those. So awesome. Just for fun, I'm going to show you. For you guys who don't follow us on Instagram, I tend to post a lot more on Instagram, just kind of everyday type stuff, because I don't have to do these big videos and edit them and things, because the big YouTube videos actually take me about a week to make. So on Instagram, I was talking about this, which is my sunflowers. So I will post that here if you want a laugh. Just seeing them, seeing you've got a week. Bin. Just putting that out there. So yeah, all these sunflowers were all planted at the same time as these guys. That's gardening for you folks. So the very last thing I'm going to update you on, I'm just going to bring you a bit closer so you can see this. There's stuff all over the floor just now, so I'm not finding it as easy as normal to move around. The capillary bed, this thing has proven awesome. So, basil. These are the little basil plants that we played with a couple of weeks ago. We bought one of those pots in the supermarket, and I was telling you guys the reason it dies is because it's basically too many plants for the pot. So again, the video's up here if you want to look at that, if you want to buy herbs from the supermarket and keep them alive. But the reason I want to talk to you about this as an update is because I noticed I had this one plant here, okay? And all these other basil plants were all over here. And I noticed all of the ones over here were looking quite sad and a bit anemic and yellow and just not looking great. And this guy was looking awesome. He was really vibrant and green. So I moved all the other ones over here, and now they all look awesome and vibrant and green. So yeah, so the capillary bed and that whole releasing the water, not releasing, but the plants taking the water as and when they want it thing, I'm loving it. Basically, I want to find a way to just install loads of these things now. Yeah, so more marigolds. The ones that are in here, these are the guys that are going to stay in here, because I'm going to try some companion planting type things. Never done that before, so that will be fun. Just before we finish up, check out these foxgloves. Can't believe these were those tiny little seeds. Again, it's up on the left. Seeds I collected from the garden last year. And Aquilesias and bleeding hearts. Oh, awesome. Right, I'm going back to the beer garden for a seat and a book. So, there you go. When you guys see this on Sunday, it'll be May, but this is the April, very end of April, update in the garden. I hope that was useful. This is my favourite spot in the garden for a day like today, and I'm just going to sit out here with my book until the sun's past the yard arm, and then I'm going to have a beer. Oh, it's fabby. So, as always guys, you know the score. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up so that I know the content you guys are enjoying, and if you subscribe you'll see more of this stuff, but you will only get notifications every time I post if you hit that bell, okay? So it's important you hit that if you want to get updates when I post. But yeah, again, thank you for being with me on this one, and it's been most enjoyable. Okay, back to my book in the sun. Oh yeah, lockdown haircut. Kate did a good job, didn't she?